Hi, this is Thad Whittenburg with Kitchen Bath Global Partners and Cab Software. Welcome to the next episode of the Kitchen and Bath Adventure Channel. We're glad to have you here. The first thing I'd like to start off with is introducing our special guests that have joined us, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun today. So, again, so much appreciated that you guys could chime in on this thing today. First one I'd like to introduce to everybody is Kelly Davert. She's from Studio M up in Minneapolis. She's having a crazy hair day, so nobody say anything about it because I did it and it was a bad scene. I'm just kidding. She looks great today. I love Kelly. She's awesome. We also have Gabby from Emily's Interiors, which is up in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. Also does a great job. I love working with Gabby. She's a great person. So I'm really happy to have these guests today. They're probably going to say a lot of things that make more sense than I will. So thank you all for participating today. The subject that we're going to be talking about is online customer journey, the digital journey, which really starts with the website. And I think a lot of dealers out there, I know they've been very busy, have not had the time to spend that they should in developing that website to meet the ever-changing consumer behaviors that are out there these days. It's funny when I talk to some folks and, I hear them say something like, oh, I don't think customers are ever going to shop that way, or our customers are never going to shop that way. And I asked them, I say, okay, so if you don't mind, I'm going to tell you how you're going to shop in the future. Are you okay with that? And they're like, no, how would you know how I'm going to shop? And I was like, exactly. Those customers are the ones that make the decisions. And if they decide that they're not going to do business with you because you haven't allowed them to interact with your company the way they would, they're going to go somewhere else. And that's going to become more and more prevalent in the marketplace. The fastest growing channel by far is the online sales of cabinetry, and that's going to continue to go. So you need to get into that that part of your business and focus some time on it and some energy to get it there. Or the other thing I'll hear people say is, hey, you know what? I'm going to be retiring in a couple of years, 2, 3 years. So, this isn't something that, I really have to worry about. And I'm glad about that. And I'm like, okay, well, then I just have a couple of questions. Do you plan on selling your business in that 2 or 3 year time frame? And they're like, yeah, we are. It's like, all right, so I'm the buyer and I look at your business and it's an older model, hasn't been advanced, which means the culture of there is not forward thinking. And okay, well, how about we're going to take a couple $100,000 off the price based on where it's at? I don't think anybody wants to go through that where they're not going to get the true value of the company. So, that's one of the things that you have to look at. Or let's say that you have a legacy plan, and you're going to be turning it over to somebody else. You're going to want to make sure that they're inheriting a company that is ready to move and it's not out of date and needs a lot of updating to get it up to where a lot of other kitchen bath places are going to be. So there's a lot of reasons to start paying more attention to what's going out on your website and what you're going to be able to provide to customers as far as the customer journey is concerned. So with that being said, we're going to start this process. If we could put the slide up there about how that journey looks like. And I know some of this is small, and I'm going to read it out to you. But the first couple slides are the customer arrives on your website. Now, I know you guys spend a lot of money to get people there. They can come from referrals. And let's not kid ourselves that, hey, referrals are going to be told to come there. And so they're automatically going to buy from you. If you're a great company that's generating all those referrals, I would assume you would want a website that reflects that. So when customers are out there, what they've heard is supported by what they see when they go to your website. And I guarantee you 98% plus of them will be going out to your website before they come by your showroom or before they contact you. So now they get out on the website, and we want to make sure that that website has some engagement to it. I've seen a lot of websites that have pictures and, just a little. I see people that have about us and don't have any pictures of any of the people there. I was like, wow, that doesn't make a grand connection. So let's get me shutting up and let's let our much smarter folks that are on the line here. We're going to start with Kelly. So, Kelly, you can tell us just a little bit about what you do over at Studio M, and what your thoughts are about the website and how you see it playing out in the future as far as getting customers engaged out there.
Okay, thank you. My name is Kelly David. I'm from the Minneapolis area, and I'm the general manager at Studio M Kitchen and Bath. And we're a studio with two businesses under one roof. We have interior designers on one side of our building and kitchen and bath designers on the other. And in many instances, we're collaborating on a lot of different projects, but we have that, unique professional guidance and design. And we're really truly all about design. And in our business, we truly believe that every project starts with great design. And it's something that I think for a lot of people, it's very hard to spend that money because you don't always see the benefits of what you've put forward in the way of a deposit or a retainer or whatever it is until the project is finished. But great design is a great investment. And then, just kind of along those lines, having a great website, it's very much and very important to our business. It's that first impression, I guess, would be a good way to say it, is how people get to know us. We want it to reflect not only our work, but our professionalism. We want people to be able to connect with us. I think it's important that, our designers have some, I don't know what the right word would be, but some presence on that. I wouldn't feel good about the fact that nobody would have any idea who they're going to work with. And sometimes I think just customers resonate with certain people and certain things, that you're a cat lover or you're a foodie or you love wine or you've traveled here, you went abroad, whatever it is. There's always those little things that connect people. And for some people, that's very important. Sometimes it's just the style. That someone, and all of our designers can create any style, but sometimes they see a project. And I think too, something that's been good for us is those before and afters. So, and I'm kind of getting away from what we're trying to, focus on today, but that's something that's important because people know what their space looks like and can see that. So there's, I think, a lot of things that make up a great website, but then having those touch points where, customers can start that process too, and not come in and be completely cold, but they have some idea of, or we have some idea of where they're going and what they're interested in. So,
Yeah, no, Kelly, I think you're spot on. It's about the story and what your company is about, right? And that needs to be pulled through the website, and customers need to feel it. And that's why I always encourage people. You need to get pictures out there, not only of the projects, but certainly the people that are there. One of the things that we're going to be doing is a video bio of the designers who are downstairs at Schroeder Design, because now you'll be able to, like, everybody can read about somebody and they see the picture, but you can learn so much more in a 1-minute video when someone's talking about why they like design, what the things that they look for, the colors, they're passionate about it. And everybody, relates to different people. They could look at all these video bios and they're like, you know what, I really like that person. I made a connection. For me, it would be someone that also had done some jail time. And that would be the person I would go to right away. And we had a lot in common. I was like, oh man, and a lot of other things we don't want to talk about. But yeah, the idea is that there's going to be something that they can really see out there and then understand. So when they're meeting this person, and it may not be coming in the door, that first meeting may move on to the Zoom side. where you're saying, hey, I've seen you out there. Would you like to do a Zoom meeting to talk about your project? And then be like, yeah, you know what? I do want to do Zoom. It's really convenient, and I want to kind of see if this is the place that I want to go to. So, yeah, Gabby, if you'd like to chime in and give some of your thoughts about interacting with these customers early on.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm early on in my kind of residential design and kitchen and bath career, but my background was, 8 years in the commercial design industry, which was just as fast paced and complex as things are here. And so I work for Emily's Interiors, and my main job here is actually to start bringing in trade business. So what Emily's does is similar to Studio M, I think a little bit is, of course, we sell cabinetry, countertops, flooring, hardware, all the things that you use to build, a kitchen and bath design. But we also offer a full design service package. So even if you're not just renovating your kitchen or a bathroom, it's your whole house. We offer that as well. And sometimes we're not even the ones, building it or doing the drawings, but we can provide schematics, design development, all the way through construction drawings, which I think is unique to many kitchen and bath businesses across, the country. But one thing that I've learned across my career is the earlier you can work on building a relationship or a rapport or trust with your client, the better off the whole process is going to go and the more likely you are to win that job. So whether it's sharing, I've been in a lot of big pitches or interviews where you're putting pictures of you with my, me with my dogs and my coworkers with their kids. And that is just so much more relatable to the person on the other side of the Zoom, right? The Zoom presentation or the screen. And they feel like you're a real person, right? They can connect with you. You're not just selling them something or doing, you know what I mean? Selling a product or a service because you have to. You really want to build a relationship with them. And that comes through when you go that little extra mile, I think. And when it comes to a website is that's the first place everyone goes for anything now. Clothing, shoe, anything you need. Amazon, it's the way we live now. So I think if you can go on a website and already feel like this is someone I feel like I would trust with my design or that I would work well with because you have a video of them that shows their personality, maybe, shows some of their design, completed designs, right? You say that person seems like a good fit for me. I would want to work with them. I think that's a huge first step in the right direction of winning business and keeping business coming in, but also one thing you always get at that is information gathering, right? If someone visits your website, they can fill things out as well. We can let them pick inspiration from our website if we have some sort of interactive kind of podium there for them, which I think is huge. As much information as we can get from them right off the bat is obviously ideal. So I think we can use our website in a lot more ways than people think these days.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean you're absolutely right. And these websites are going to become, that's the new retail storefront. That's where people start. That's where they start getting those first impressions. And oh, by the way, Gabby, I am not going to let Mike know that you refer to him as a dog, although he is. So yeah, that'll be our
we'll
secret.
Keep that between us. Yeah.
Yeah, us and the other 300 or 400 people that are on here. But yeah, and it's interesting when you look at it. It's exciting to me about what tools you can start putting on your website that are going to keep people out there and engaged. Because again, like you just said, it's telling a story about what you're all about. It's not reading something. It's like, I'm not plugging anything, but we're, in about 3 weeks, we'll be rolling out the kitchen planner. And it'll be a website tool for dealers so that if a customer's out there and they want to play around, they can, they'll pick what the kitchen looks like, U-shape or whatever. They can put some dimensions in. They can start dropping cabinets in there. They can start picking door styles, countertop colors, et cetera, right? And then it'll show a picture. It looks like almost like a 2020 perspective of this thing. And it's kind of getting them excited. And the cool thing is all this information is going to be emailed over if they've already selected a designer, or it's going to go to the company. And now you've already seen some things that customer is interested in. And so you're not starting from ground zero. Yeah, you can start a chat with them out there. You can say, hey, at that point, hey, would you like to do a Zoom meeting? You know, I saw some of the colors you were picking. You can make a recommendation of, you know, with that countertop and that door style. Here's another one that's really popular out there, and make some suggestions. Now, all this is going online, and no one is really like in our industry started capturing that, right? Where they're going back and forth and doing some of these things out there. This is really going to be cool.
Yeah, and it's just on another level you can connect with the customer.
Yeah, it really is. It's like, wow, you know, they're like, these people are forward thinking. Like, they don't just have, I mean, I've seen some websites, and I wrote about it like in a blog last week. And seriously, some of these blogs I read, I'm like, really, 2015? Come on. You can't have a blog out on your website that's 7 years old. If someone sees that, just take the date off of it. If you're never going to change it, at least don't let them know how old it is. And but yeah, you got to keep that thing current out there. And if you don't have time to do it yourself, I recommend that you have somebody help you. Like someone, you know, I'm not, you say you can't do it yourself, but it takes time away from some of the things that you should be working on, you know, within your company, coming up with new ideas, culture, all these other things that are out there, and let those people guide you or give them some direction on what needs to happen, because you can't ignore it. And if you're too busy and it gets ignored, you're really missing a vital part of how you're branding yourself to customers. And that's probably not a good direction to go. So, you know, the other cool thing is that we want to kind of tie this to is getting the electronic measurements, the digital measurements that are going on, and how a customer can scan the room now. And you can get these things, and, you know, that kind of, you know, you can start already with the semantics of a room before you've even been out there before. And, you know, Gabby, I know from where you come in the commercial side, you know, that thing is so prevalent right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. We were using, I mean, basically cameras and technology to scan spaces for us. There's a couple companies that have grown in the past probably 5+ years that started out as, oh, this is really expensive. No one wanted to invest in the technology of sending someone else out to measure the space for them because it was newer at the time, right? It wasn't proven yet through project after project that it worked and that it was efficient and useful. But eventually everyone started to invest on, especially large scale projects, having this, you know, this third party company go out and do that for you, because we all know it takes a lot of time to do a site measure, especially on a large scale project, whether it's a whole entire home remodel down to just a kitchen. It's tedious. It takes time. And there's, of course, always room for human error. So to have the opportunity.
Every measurement I've ever put down on a napkin is very precise.
Just perfect. I'm sure. I can't say the same for myself, but it really has become very prevalent. And we're like doing scans of spaces, and you can walk through the existing space online. Even, you know, like you do on Google Maps, so that you don't have to be visiting the site every day or every week. It saves the business money, and it saves the client time on the back end of you not having to say, well, we got to wait to get out to site because we don't know, or, you know, that back and forth. So it has become in the commercial world very prevalent.
Yeah, and you know, we're going to start seeing it at some point in our industry. And I tell dealers, like, hey, you know what? Yeah, don't compare yourself to other dealers out there, because, you know, maybe the technology bar in our industry isn't really that high. It could be kind of on the low side, and you can really set yourself apart if you start investing some time and energy to, you know, really make this thing something special that customers are going to gravitate to, and that's awesome. And, you know, I was just thinking the other day, I was talking to Kelly about this, like before the Zoom meeting that you have, and maybe you say like this introduction and coffee, right? And like the day before you have that Zoom meeting, you could send them like a $10 gift certificate online to Starbucks, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Kelly, how would, as a customer, and you see this come through, and you're like, oh, Like they sent me a gift card or whatever for $10 at Starbucks. I mean, how would you start thinking about this company? Your mute's on, Kelly.
Sorry,
There you go.
my lawnmowers came by, so I had to mute myself.
That's okay.
Sorry. I think it's such a nice gesture, and especially, let's just say I like coffee, or if it was something else, maybe they heard me say, "Oh, I don't know, my favorite scone place is, right down the street," and I get a little card or something. I mean, it tells me, one, it's very kind gesture, and two, they're listening. And yeah,
There you
they're
go.
engaging. And so I would, and I have worked with companies that have done things like that, or,
Yeah.
so it's very nice. I mean, yeah, it starts that engagement, I guess. And
Yeah.
they're investing in me.
Yep. And the one thing that you said that's really important is that you're listening.
Mhm.
So many times, guy, you get around. And has anybody ever been with a salesperson where you walk up and the first 5 minutes is that, and you're like, really? Like, you don't want to ask any questions. You're just going to like go through the same thing. The next customer is going to come up and say, okay, roll it. Here we go again. Right. Here's the script. That doesn't connect with people. You have to listen. There's things you're going to pick up during those conversations that you need to make note of, and because you're building that relationship, and we can't say enough of what that means. When we look at kitchens and bathrooms, and I think we can all agree that's a big investment.
Yeah.
And I don't see a lot. Go ahead, Kelly.
No, I was just going to say, I think, it may sound old fashioned, but, I think it's always important to write a follow-up note after you meet with someone or have that phone call, and just reiterating some of the things that you heard in that initial conversation, just, validates the fact that you are on board and that you are engaged, and that, I feel like, if I get a note and it says nothing about what we talked about, or like you said, the salesperson just talk, and never listens. Our role is to listen, because it's hard to deliver a design and a great project without listening, because that input is, I guess, our roadmap to putting this project together and having a successful project, meaning from form and function and beauty and whatever is important to that client. So
Yeah, and those are the things that you're going to learn through those conversations. And
yes.
to your point about sending a card, right? Like, I'm a big advocate of it, as you know. Yeah, okay, you can send them an electronic card. I've seen some of those that are really cool. You have it set up for your company and you set that over, and that's a good way to do it. But also, I mean, I go to dealers all the time. I was at one this morning. I was like, so where are the cards that you send to customers? And everybody just kind of looked around and he's like, well, I think we used to have some. I don't know where those are. I was like, we got a lot of work to do here. Everybody should have those things at their desk, because here's the thing. How many times do you get a card in the mail?
Rarely.
I don't. Right. I get past due bills. I get, hey, here's the authorities or whatever I'm trying to write. That's all I get in the mail. No, but seriously, when I look at my mail, the first thing I shuffle, throw it down. But if I see a handwritten card to me, I don't like, oh, I'll get to it later. I'm going to open it right then. Like, who sent me this card? And to what Kelly was saying, mention something like, oh, hey, Mary or Peter or whoever it was, it was really nice talking with you, and I'm really looking forward to, working on hopefully the kitchen project with you. I really appreciate the opportunity. I love some of the ideas of what you want to do with it. It just doesn't have to be long, but say something that's different than like, oh, I just wrote my name on the card and sent it.
And a thank you. Yeah.
That, right?
Yeah.
Every touch point that you have, and if people aren't familiar with what touch points are on websites, it's in emails, it's person to person, it's Zoom, it's any interaction you have with the customer is building the memory points. And the memory points are your brand. And you know what? When someone else asks about your company, the first thing, and when they start telling that story, like who did this kitchen, they're going to start with everything that they remember through all those touch points. So, and hey, if it was mediocre, it was okay, then they're like, yeah, they did a good job, but it turned out the way we want. And, okay, well, now I'm the other person that lives down the street and has the same type of house and everything that needs to be remodeled. I'm like, okay, well, that wasn't an overwhelming, that wasn't like a really good, referral that they're trying to provide me. But you want that story to be like from a raving fan. And they're like, from the very beginning, I started working with these people. They were awesome. I'm serious. If you want to get your kitchen done, like I worked with Kelly, and it was amazing. I mean, just even website, they thought of everything. And she listened all the time, and I couldn't applaud them more about how they focus on the customer experience. Now that person is thinking, I've been wanting to do the kitchen, and one of the things is I really don't know who I should go to because it's a lot of money. It's very intrusive. They're coming into my home, but now you got the neighbor who you love that's telling you how great these people are, and now you're like, you know what? I'm going to go check it out. They go out to that website first, right? And now they're going to see, okay, well, what's so special about these people? And if it's a website that just has pictures and a little bit about us and stuff, you're like, okay, maybe that great experience starts when you get there. I don't know, because I'm not having it on the website yet. But we want to change those things, right? We want to make that incredibly interesting for the customer. So one of the things, Gabby, is, thinking about some things that you could do for that customer in those first stages. Say that they like a door style, right? You say, I would really love this color. And you see this out there. And maybe a manufacturer would say, oh, you know what? All you got to do is go online and order a little sample thing, and we're going to ship it out to them, right? Like easy. Like it gets out like in a day.
Doesn't take a lot to do that.
No.
Order a door sample and a color. It doesn't cost us much to do that. I think it's a small gesture that could go a long way.
Yeah, and maybe some manufacturers might come to their senses and say, you know what, use your co-op dollars, or we'll split the price. You're pushing their product, right? And they're going to sell it as a wood chip, or if you have to get into a smaller door or whatever you're going to send them. So now you're talking about this customer, right? And they get home and there's a little package there, and they open it up, and voila, it's a wood chip, it's a door saw, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Now what are they thinking?
Yeah, I think that I'm like excited thinking about someone sending me a door sample that I left without having to ask. But I think, to me, again, like reiterating what Kelly said, one, it proves that you're listening to them, but it's just such a thoughtful gesture. And it kind of sends a note to the client that we're detail oriented, we're thoughtful, we are listening to you, again, like Kelly said. But then it's getting them excited, right? One thing I always love in the beginning, especially the beginning stages of a design project or kitchen project, is where the client, you start to see that light in their eye where they're really starting to glow about their own project, because whether we're starting to show it to them in 3D or we're seeing the materials in real life, that is one of the best and most rewarding parts, I think, of being a designer, is seeing that client get excited about their specific project. And it's something a lot of people wait a long time to renovate their kitchen, right?
Yeah,
most people are waiting years, decades, even saving up their whole lives to renovate the home that they love, their kitchen. It's a big deal to a lot of people, and they dream about it their whole life. So to see that vision that someone's had for years and years come to life, and to be able to be a part of that and say, hey, we saw you loved this. We're sending, we thought of you, we sent you a quick sample, and we want to help you bring that dream to a reality is exciting. And that's a huge piece of the puzzle with getting clients motivated and excited about their projects.
Yeah, because one of the things they think about, you're spot on with that stuff, Gabby. You really, when you said about like how long they're waiting, like people don't just wake up and like, you know what, hey, hubby, wife, whatever, whoever,
right.
You know what? Why don't we just get our kitchen remodeled? Like, that's not the way it works. They're like, someday I want to do this, and they're saving up for it. And, kitchens, Kelly, I mean, what have they become? And what, continuing to become as part of the household? Like, how would you describe what that piece means to the home?
Well, you always hear people say it's the heart of the home, and I can't think of a better word, but everything happens there. Everything starts there. As the person who does all the cooking and that, and being, let's just not to stereotype, but the mom, and that is kind of their headquarters of everything starts there, ends there at the end of the day. Kids might be at a large island doing their homework. We've designed islands where the kids can put all their homework and all of their study materials and everything there because mom is busy doing dinner. So the kids are doing, homework at the island. And it worked out great for that particular family. But yeah, it's just the hub of the home. I don't know really how else to say it. And
it is. And so many people have been, whatever you want to call it, cocooning, nesting, whatever, right? They're working from home and, they're spending a lot more time there. Being able to get creative, it's become so important to people, right? Like that's the number one projects people are doing now. They're doing stuff like in the deck stuff, but the kitchens and bathrooms and stuff have become like one of the things that they're all running towards to have because they're like, I want to have a nice kitchen that's out there. So
well, when you're spending X amount of times more at home, right? No matter how many hours you were spending before pre-COVID, now people are working from home almost across the board for the most part. I mean, you start to realize the things that don't work for you when you're in your house 24 hours a day. So I think that's a big piece of it too.
Yeah. And so now you think about this component of their home has become incredibly a popular place for them to spend time. Right. So it has added importance to them now. And so now they're trying to decide who am I going to work with on this project? And lo and behold, it's always been like this, but it's even more important now is the factor of likability with the person, trust and confidence, and all these things that you're doing to start that customer experience is like, you know what? This is the person that I feel so comfortable with now. That's who I want to work with. I want to turn over that heart of the home over to this person to help our dreams come true. And so, again, I'm coming back to the fact that just doesn't start in the showroom now. Mm-hmm. You've got to start having these things happen on the website. And the other thing too is sales are borderless now. Like I talk to people all the time and they're shipping kitchens like, oh yeah, I sold one in, Minneapolis the other day. Mm-hmm. Or I'm kidding, Kelly. So, but yeah, I mean, they do. It doesn't matter where they're from. I have one in Florida. I did one in California. And that's just the way the world is going now. And so, if it's the fastest growing channel out there, I'm not saying your whole business is going to turn online, but man, you better have at least the possibility that you could do it online from start to finish, and that's what they'll be looking for. And, there's other things, like one of the things that we're working on right now with cabs. And before I forget, and before David throws something at me, look, we have a chat thing, and I've always encouraged people to send in questions because we'd like to hear from you. We want to understand what you're thinking about this particular area of the business. So don't hesitate. We'd love to hear what your questions are, comments, whatever it is. So if you get a chance, throw. The other thing I just wanted to mention too, while I'm talking about that, is David is going to send out a link to the kitchen platform, the online design tool that's out there. It's going to go into the box, the comment box, wherever you're watching it. Doesn't matter, wherever you're streaming it. You can see that there if you want to check it out. Because when you start looking at stuff like that, you're like, the possibilities start to go like this, right? Like, wow, what else could we do? And I talk about the portals, which we want to like tie into our cab side or wherever you're doing this, where a customer can go in there, right? And I was talking about they can start doing selections and pulling in door styles and all the rest of that stuff in there, right? What if they can invite one of their friends out in California, right? Like, hey, here's some of the stuff that's going on. You know, I'm going to send you an invite. And it's an invite that goes to their calendar. Like, hey, let's meet at 3:00 to talk about some of the things that we're looking at design wise. I know you've done interior design before, and I want to get your thoughts about it. And now it starts to become a social event that's in there. And that's really cool, you know, or they can share it on with people, you know, on their Facebook or wherever they want to, you know, and that's so nice to give them that ability to be able to do something like that, then say, no, you know, hey, here's a pamphlet that they gave me when I was there, or here's this. And I'm not saying that's bad, but, you know, on the whole consumer experience side, that might be a 2 or 3. Let's start getting it up there where that puppy, you know, is at an 8 or 9 or 10, right? Something that they're going to tell other people about. And, you know, I'm looking at some of the journey so we can move along, obviously, in here is so Gabby, on this one, how do you think designers in the next couple of years are going to be presenting kitchens to customers, to consumers? What's that platform going to look like?
I think there's a couple of different roads you can go down. So for, let's say, the client where Thad, you were just kind of mentioning is maybe, you know, we're based here in Central Mass, but we've done kitchens personally at Emily's in California, Florida. There's so many different ways that you can keep them up to date with the design at all times. Even it's not just scheduling a presentation, right? You can say, hey, I've made some updates to the renderings or some updates to the plans, but we don't have a meeting scheduled until next week to review things. But hey, here's a OneDrive link, right? You could have a folder for them to access at all times and say, oh, I just, you know, dropped some renderings in here. Why don't you go ahead and take a look? And they can take a look and get you feedback without having to sit down and have a meeting necessarily, which I think is huge. And again, more efficient, which we all love. And I also think something that from my kind of past life in commercial design that was really big was walkthroughs of spaces, virtual walkthroughs, and using those kind of little VR goggles.
Yeah.
Be able to put yourself in the space. You know, obviously a rendering does the job just fine right now, but the wow factor can lie in that kind of use of the technology where most software can do it now. You generate kind of a 3D panoramic and you bring up an app on your phone and put those little goggles on and you feel like you're in your new kitchen, which is, again, just drives it home for the client that much more. They're not designers. They're not the professionals. They don't do this every day. They can't always envision things like we can, you know, in our minds when we're getting inspired and feeling excited about a project. I think that VR.
I think Gabby cut out there for a second. Shrewsbury, if you didn't know, up in Massachusetts, only allows you internet access for a half hour a day. So I think she's gone past that. We'll see if she can come back and join us. But, you know, one of the things I think Gabby was headed towards is, what is that going to look like?
Sorry.
That's okay. That's all right.
I froze.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Gabby.
No. Sorry, I froze. I was just saying, I think that VR is going to be a huge piece of that and selling
reality,
designs.
Yeah. You know, when you get into walking around in the kitchen, like, you know, we're working on bringing these files in. That's the way it's going to go. I don't know if you've seen some of the things online about what they're doing and how you look at stuff. And, you know, here's the thing. We talk about them looking into that portal. In the next, I'll say 24 months at the very latest, you'll send them an invite and you will walk around in the kitchen that somebody has designed with them in there. And people, you talk about the goggles. But you know what? Facebook, everybody is building glasses just like this. That's all you got to do. Put them on, and then you hang out with your friend, and you walk around in the kitchen, and you can open doors and drawers, and you'll be able to like touch things, change the door styles up there. You'll have pricing over here. Like, oh, if we do this, or you can hit the button on the appliances and it's going to go through like a really cool short video. Like, oh, this thing does this as the highlights of some of the stuff. And you're like, that's pretty cool. Or change it out. Here's some other options. Big, put that one in there.
Right.
And it could be not only their friend, but the designer too. And now you have collaboration with, the neighbor and them. And, it's like, hey, someone needs to bring popcorn to watch this thing because it's going to be so cool. And the thing that you guys talk about through this whole conversation that we've had is the excitement level of a customer, right? And they're like, you know what? We saved our whole life to do this thing. And like, okay, well, here's this black and white piece of paper. I did talk to a dealer about 4 months ago and said, guess what? We're heading, they're on the Eastern Shore. I don't want to mention the name, but they're like, we're actually printing them in color. I was like, oh, wow, are you kidding me? I was like, and that's ahead of the competition. The printed sheet that has color on it. Hey, it is what it is. That's right. Yeah. That was new for them. But it's going so much further. It's going so much faster, and people need to pay attention to it. And I do know that a lot of dealers they don't have the time or they don't have the resources, right? You can't do all this stuff that you're doing at work all the time and then also investing in these things. And so, one of the things that we're trying to do at Kitchen and Bath Global Partners is when we have people come join us, is we want to start sharing this information, like the online tool with the kitchen designer part of it, that software that's out there. Planner. And then, once we get into other things that we're exploring, we want to make sure that all of our dealers are being exposed to this stuff. And you can hear people talk about, oh, I'd really like to do that, but then they have no idea where to start, right? They're like, okay, well, it's nice, but where do I go? And we want to kind of outline how the possibilities and what to do to get there. I'm just saying this, and this is true. Nothing pleases me more in my job than working with kitchen and bath dealers to make their business better. And it's just not that. It's like make it something that's special, something that they're getting excited about. I've talked to so many owners, as we've gone through this uptick. And, I get them on the phone and I could just hear the stress in their voice. Right? Like, oh my God, it's Monday, Thad. I like to talk to you, but I got monkeys running around here, and someone threw them on my back. And has anybody heard anything, talking to anybody, the designers, whoever it is, right? And every business, if you want to drive out the inefficiencies, which will give you extra time to focus on the important part of your business, not just working in it, which is where 99% of their time or more is being spent, you get into the important side of how your business is going to move forward. And the only way you can do that, you read any business book out there, is have systems and processes. Yeah. Because in our industry right now, I would not be surprised at all if you look at the efficiency side of it, 50% of it is time that's not value added. It's dealing with problems. It's dealing with this. It's dealing with that. And boy, you want to talk about having time, and also with all the mistakes or any of these things that happen, it's also brand damage. Their customers are experiencing that side because, there's Excel spreadsheets that are out there that they're using, and they're trying to keep up with stuff. And, I know it's tough, but it's more important now than ever that you are going to start building your company on a platform that has the culture component, the systems component, and the process component. So you can spend your time where it really matters, with the people that you work with and your customers. Yeah. And that means where you can start, I call them spontaneous touch points. So like what Kelly was saying earlier, like you learn something about somebody, dog, cat, whatever it is, or just something that's special, something that makes their day. You send them a picture or something. Now you have time to do things like that. You could be more thoughtful, when you're working with people instead of just like, I'm a crazy person again today. That doesn't allow you to do that. And so, building this online experience is something that, is going to help business moving forward. And it's just got to make sure that it really is hitting home with the customer with all the touch points that you can provide out there. And I'll tell you again, we'll put it on our website or something, and you can download the customer experience, the online customer experience. If you don't have one for your showroom, you need to start there and then build your online one. Because if everybody's doing it their own way, right, then the customer experience is going to be, I always talk about it's like shooting an arrow, okay? And you say, I want to make this a raving fan. And everybody's using a different process. And then those arrows start, okay, that one landed over in Rappahannock County or something. And who knows, right? Because it's not the same every time. And if everybody's using the same process and they're trained to those things and have the systems, the likelihood that they're going to be able to hit that bullseye just became a hell of a lot more likely, And that's a cool thing. It's great to see the customer. How does it feel, Kelly, when a customer says to you, you know what? I am so glad that I bought from you. It's been an amazing experience.
I mean, it's the ultimate compliment, because I truly believe, as probably every single person does that has a team of designers, we do what we love. We specialize in cabinetry, how it goes together, and, creating that space that is highly functional, yet, at the same time, beautiful. So, it's the greatest feeling in the world to take something, and typically I would say, and I'm sure Gabby would probably agree, that so many times we get the opportunity to give them so much more than they ever dreamed that they would get.
Yes, above the expectations that they have. Yes. And I don't mean to interrupt, but Gabby,
that's okay.
like was saying, like sending that door sample to them. And maybe a manufacturer might think, you know what, when this thing goes out, we have the tracker, and I'm going to send it to Gabby. And she's going to know the day that thing arrives there.
Yeah.
And then she can reach out to the customer and put like a little smiley face on the email and say, hey, did anything arrive in the mail today? And they're like, oh, Gabby, that was so cool. Thanks. I didn't even know that sample was coming. It's things like that are it's just going to keep fueling their excitement about the project and working with you about it.
Right.
And, they're small things, but they are going to go a long way. You know what? And we all like great experiences, right? Whether you go to a restaurant or, we do. Someone at a restaurant, the waiter, waitress, whatever, can either make that meal, I don't mean physically make it, or that experience or not. If they're just like, take your order, blah, 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 you're like, okay, this was great. And we've all had the opposite. That person that shows up with a smile and a lot of energy and starts talking to you. And like, when you think back about that place, you think about that person. You're like, oh, we had a really cool waiter or waitress there, and that applies everywhere. And so if we like those experiences in our lives, we should also extend those to our customers, right? Not just here's the status quo or anything or a little above it. We want things that they'll like talk about. And we're going to bring this to a close. We usually like to wrap it up in about 15 minutes. If anybody is interested in the kitchen planner online for your website, just reach out to us. Cabs or whatever. Again, it's not plugging or anything. We are here to help our dealers. We want them to be the very best in the future. And I think working together, we can get there. Before we close out, I would just like to, Gabby, you have somebody in there. I see you went on mute.
Yeah, my guy Mike over here is on the phone talking
Okay.
quite
Well,
loudly in the
anyway, I
background.
want to also say, Gabby, thank you so much.
Of course.
Enjoy working with you. I appreciate your time there.
Thank you, Thad.
Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to add?
I think, just to sum things up, it's again about being client centric as much as we possibly can be. I think it's so easy to get caught up in, especially right now, right? Like you said, we have an uptick. It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day of just doing our job and getting that part done. But that relationship building and information gathering, but mainly the client centric piece, the relationship building piece is ultimately so important, and what will bring us that repeat or referral business, from now on. So that's not going to go away anytime soon.
Yeah. And you know what? Let's get processes, systems in place so we can spend time thinking about it, right? They're like, I don't have time to send a little coffee thing out. I don't have time for this. I don't have. Well, guess what? That's opportunities that you just threw out the window.
Right.
Right. And if you can get out of working in the business and start working on the business, your customers' experiences are only going to get better.
They're going to notice the difference. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. They will. Yeah. And they're going to tell other people about it. But even if they don't, you've done something amazing for that person that they've been wanting to do for a long time. And it's special to them and important. Go ahead, Kelly. Yes, we're going to let you. Can you cut off her microphone? Do we have competition? I just think, Kelly, go ahead.
I would cut it off. No, but I wanted to actually pose a question to Gabby, being much younger than I am, and I have a young team of girls and designers. How much of your business, Gabby? I mean, we've talked about touch points and, notes and listening and being in person, whether it's sitting at a table or online on a Zoom call. I just wondered about like social media and that. How much of your business is social media, and how many of those relationships start there? Just say maybe Instagram.
Yeah. So we actually have someone in-house. I'm going to shout her out, Krista. She's in the office today, but who does manage our social media accounts. So we have an Instagram account, and she's constantly, and our Facebook as well. She's constantly posting and creating content for that. But a lot of times, I think one story she had told me too is we'll notice we have a client currently right now who had been watching all of our stories on Facebook or Instagram, every single one of them for like a year. And now they're a client of ours. People are watching what you're doing, even if you notice that they are or aren't, especially on social media. I mean, the website is one thing, but an Instagram account is or Facebook is the next place someone's going to go online to find you and see your work or cool, fun videos of your team in action or projects getting completed. So I think we do get quite a bit of business between our Facebook and our Instagram of people just seeing us post, seeing Krista, posting content, and getting, excited about what we do and some of the projects we've completed. We do get quite a bit. Or those people who are just quietly watching you until they're ready for their project, and they've got you in the back of their mind because you were constantly giving them content to remind them that you're there. So we do well with that piece of it. I think website and social media are just where everything is going now.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kelly.
Oh, no, I was just thanking her for her input.
Yeah, thank you for the question.
Yeah. And I wasn't trying to ignore the social media side. I just thought we're going to get so into just the website side, but social media, oh my goodness, like the stories out there. And, you talk about going after, customers and, posting fun stuff that you're doing out there, whether it's on Facebook or wherever. That's a way for them to kind of quietly, like you just said, Gabby, start checking you out. Yeah. And they want to see what type of people are those. I'm like, oh man, they seem like they're having fun. Look at some of the projects they're doing.
They get a glimpse into your culture. Stuff. Yeah. They get a glimpse into your culture and what it would be like to work with you, whether it's on the job site or in design. So that, again, like the videos on the website, video bios, I know, Thad, you always talk about, and things like that, where you're just giving that client more kind of reasons to work with you, more opportunities to get to know you and feel like they're building a relationship with you before they even reach out, which is huge.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. That's perfect. That's perfect. That's what this is all about. And people will just kind of gravitate towards you. They're going to just start seeing this and like, wow, this is a really cool place. Like, I'll leave you to this, but like Pike's Fish House up in Seattle, I don't know if you've ever seen it where they throw the fish around and stuff. Like back in the day, this is what you do, right? These are people selling fish. That business there is like $100 million now.
Yeah.
Only because people, because it's the biggest tourist site in Seattle. Now, I don't know if that's a reflection of what they do or Seattle. I don't want to comment to that. But no, I mean, seriously, that's just saying something that's mundane. They've turned into something incredible.
Yeah.
And that's what people can do. And it is going to be a lot of things, not in the showroom, but in social media and websites. And man, there's no limit. Just take them off and throw them away. Have fun with it. So, hey, we're getting towards the end here, but I can't thank you, Kelly, enough for joining us today. I know you guys are really busy. Great seeing you. And, Gabby, also, thank you so much for joining us today. Look forward to working with you some more in the future. It's going to be so cool. And I want to also thank everybody for joining us too. And if you ever need anything, or just our websites are out there, whether it's Kitchen Bath Global Partners or CAB software. Look, if you put something out, I guarantee you one of us will be back in touch with you quickly, and we'll do everything we can to help you. So with that said, thanks for participating. And I hope the rest of your day is amazing. So that's it. Thanks again, guys. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.